You are not a passenger in life. You are the dreamer, shaping the dream itself. Carl Jung.
How to wake up from the dream of reality before it resets. What if this isn't real? What if the life you're living, the people, the problems, even your sense of self is not the ultimate reality, but a projection, a beautifully coded dream designed to teach you something before the dream resets? You wake up each morning believing you've woken up. But what if you've only entered another layer of the same illusion? The alarm rings. The sun breaks through the blinds. You check your phone, your messages, your plans. You think this is the world. But beneath that quiet hum of ordinary life, something ancient is whispering, "Wake up before the dream forgets you." Imagine for a moment that you are a soul, infinite, luminous, who fell asleep in eternity and dreamed itself into form. In this dream, you took on a name, a history, a body. You learned to walk, to love, to suffer, to strive. You began to believe the story so deeply that you forgot you were the dreamer. And yet, occasionally, something stirs, a déjà vu that feels like a glitch in the matrix, a sudden wave of meaning that floods your heart when you watch a sunset or meet someone's eyes and remember something beyond words. Those moments are the cracks in the simulation, the dream's way of calling you home. Every ancient wisdom tradition has tried to tell us the same thing in its own poetic code. The world is Maya, illusion. The Tao is nameless, and all that can be spoken is not the real Tao. Plato said, "We're watching shadows on a cave wall." Buddha said, "Life is like a dream, temporary, ever-changing, empty of fixed self." Jesus said, "Be in the world, but not of it." And in modern times, quantum physics now whispers the same truth in scientific language, that the material world is not solid. It's waves of potential, energy, consciousness, collapsing into form because we observe it. You see, the dream isn't fake, it's real within its level. Just like in a lucid dream, you can fly, cry, fall, or awaken. But when you awaken, you realize that all along, the power was not in the dream, but in the dreamer. Waking up from the dream of reality isn't about rejecting life. It's about reclaiming authorship. Most people live on autopilot, driven by old stories, unhealed emotions, cultural hypnosis. They are dreamers who have forgotten they are dreaming, caught in loops of survival, success, pleasure, pain, scrolling endlessly through digital echoes of meaning. But awakening doesn't mean escaping the dream. It means mastering it. It means remembering that every experience, every challenge, every heartbreak is a mirror reflecting back a part of your consciousness asking to be integrated. To wake up is to see the patterns in your relationships, your habits, your ambitions, and realize they are not who you are. They are the script you've been rehearsing. The real you is the one who watches, the observer behind the eyes, the silent awareness witnessing thoughts rise and fall like waves.
There's a story told in an old Taoist village. A man dreamed he was a butterfly, fluttering freely in the sunlight. When he woke up, he wondered, Am I a man who dreamed I was a butterfly, or a butterfly now dreaming I am a man? This question is the essence of awakening. It dissolves the boundary between the seen and the unseen, the physical and the metaphysical. Because if you look closely, life behaves like a dream. In dreams, emotion creates reality instantly. In waking life, it's slower, but it's the same law of consciousness shaping form. Your thoughts, your beliefs, your emotional frequencies, they bend the probabilities of what you experience next. You are the artist of the dream, but you've been taught to believe you're only the paint on the canvas. Neuroscience now confirms that your brain doesn't distinguish vividly imagined experience from physical reality. It lights up the same networks. Spirituality has known this for millennia. The inner world creates the outer. When you meditate, when you visualize, when you feel gratitude, you are rewriting the dream from the inside. You are sending new blueprints into the hologram of reality. This is why healers heal, creators manifest, lovers attract, and leaders inspire, not because they control reality, but because they align with it consciously. They remember they are the dreamer. But here's the paradox. The moment you start to wake up, the dream fights back. It tempts you with comfort, distractions, fears. It whispers, "Stay asleep, it's safer here." Because every awakening disrupts the old pattern. Every awakening is a small death of the false self, the identity built from stories, expectations, and pain. And the ego, terrified of its own impermanence, tries to pull you back into the fog. So the question becomes not how to wake up, but how to stay awake when the world tries to lull you back to sleep. Maybe this is why life keeps repeating certain lessons until you learn them. Why certain relationships echo the same emotional wounds. Why opportunities appear, disappear, and reappear in new forms, like the dream resetting itself until you finally understand the message hidden in its code. Because the universe is not punishing you, it's teaching you how to remember. Every cycle, every heartbreak, every failure is an invitation to become lucid, to rise above reaction and reclaim your awareness. So pause for a moment. Feel your breath. Feel the aliveness pulsing in your chest behind the ordinary hum of thought. That awareness is what's real. It existed before this dream began, and it will remain after it ends. The dream may reset, worlds may shift, bodies may change, timelines may bend, but the dreamer, the consciousness behind your eyes, is eternal. And every time you choose to wake up, you remember a little more of who you truly are. This is not about escaping the world, it's about engaging it as a lucid participant, a conscious co-creator of the grand design. In the next section, we'll explore the core themes and concepts behind this awakening, the mechanics of illusion, the psychology of perception, and the timeless laws that govern how dreams, minds, and realities unfold.
In the first layer of awakening, curiosity cracks open the illusion. But to truly wake up, we must go deeper to understand how this dream is structured. Because every dream, no matter how vivid, follows laws. And reality, as we call it, is no different. It is not chaos. It is an intelligent pattern, a symphony of consciousness playing itself through form. The mystics called it the divine play. The physicists call it a field of probability. The psychologists call it the projection of the subconscious mind. Different languages, same truth. You are not inside reality. Reality is inside you. There are two ways to see the world. The surface reality, where you believe what your senses report. You see the forms, the problems, the structures, the timelines. The deeper reality, where you perceive the field of energy and meaning beneath everything that appears solid. This second layer is what sages have always called truth. Because truth is not found in appearances, it's found in awareness. It's the realization that every form is temporary, but the essence animating it is eternal. The dreamer and the dream are not separate. You are both the observer and the observed, the actor and the author, the drop and the ocean. When this insight shifts from theory to lived experience, life begins to reconfigure itself. Synchronicities increase, intuition sharpens, the outer world starts mirroring your inner clarity. That's not magic, it's alignment. Every spiritual awakening eventually collides with one essential paradox. You are infinitely powerful, and yet you control nothing. How can both be true? Because control belongs to the ego, the dream character who believes it must manipulate outcomes to survive. But power belongs to awareness, the dreamer who knows that all things unfold in divine timing. Surrender does not mean passive acceptance. It means trusting the intelligence that breathes through all things. It means participating consciously in the flow without resisting what must dissolve. In the same way that a lucid dreamer doesn't panic when the scene shifts, they flow with it, reshape it, explore it. Awakening asks us to meet life as a lucid explorer, not a frightened participant. When we cling to the illusion of control, we tighten. When we surrender into awareness, we expand. And from expansion, real creation begins. Let's bring this down to the neural level. Your brain doesn't see reality, it predicts it. Every second, your senses send in fragments of data, and your brain fills in the rest based on memory, emotion, and expectation. This means you never see the world as it is, you see it as you are. Psychology calls this perceptual bias. Spirituality calls it karma. Both describe the same mechanism. The mind filters reality through belief. When your inner world shifts, your outer world follows, because perception and creation are two sides of one coin. This is why healing trauma, rewriting subconscious programs, and practicing mindfulness are not merely therapeutic, they are metaphysical acts. Every healed wound clears a lens of perception. Every quiet moment of presence widens the aperture of awareness. You begin to see more clearly, and the dream rearranges to match your new frequency.
This understanding isn't new. It's encoded in every ancient tradition, hidden beneath symbols, metaphors, and paradoxes. In Hermetic philosophy, it was said, as within, so without. As above, so below. In the Vedic texts, the self, Atman, was seen as identical to the universal consciousness, Brahman. In Zen, enlightenment is realizing there was never anything to awaken from, only the illusion of separation. In Stoicism, power lies not in controlling the world, but in mastering perception and response. Across cultures and millennia, the awakened ones were all describing the same map, just with different mythic languages. Each tradition pointed toward one living truth. Reality is consciousness, and consciousness is reality. The world you see is your reflection, a mirror polished by awareness or fogged by ignorance. Now let's speak the language of vibration, the dialect of mystics and modern physics alike. Everything vibrates. Every thought, emotion, and action emits a frequency that interacts with the larger field of energy around you. You attract not what you want, but what you are vibrating. That is why affirmations without embodiment don't work, because energy responds to congruence, not words. The universe listens to your emotional frequency, not your intellectual wish list. When you raise your frequency through gratitude, presence, or love, the dream adjusts, just as a lucid dream brightens when the dreamer feels awe instead of fear. High-frequency living isn't about positivity denial. It's about energetic integrity. It's about feeling the pain without identifying with it, then choosing alignment again and again until the illusion loses its grip. The dream of reality unfolds through multiple dimensions of consciousness, and you live through them all simultaneously. Health and fitness, the density of matter, your body as a sacred vehicle of energy. Emotional life, the movement of feeling, how energy flows or stagnates. Intellectual life, the refinement of mind, clarity, focus, perception. Character, the crystallization of values, integrity, courage, truth. Spirituality, the awakening of essence, remembering you are divine. Love and relationships, the mirrors of soul connection, lessons in unity. Parenting and legacy, the continuation of wisdom, evolution through generations. Social life, the web of reflection, learning boundaries, empathy, authenticity. Financial life, the flow of abundance, energy translated into material exchange. Career, the art of purpose, channeling your gifts into service. Quality of life, the vibration of joy, savoring the texture of being. Life experience, the sacred curriculum, each event as initiation. Each of these is a classroom in the dream, designed to help you master energy, awareness, and love at different densities. When one dimension falls asleep, the others ripple with it. When one awakens, the others rise with it. The game is holistic. The awakening is total. You are not a primitive creature trapped in a mechanical universe. You are consciousness using biology as a bridge between the infinite and the finite. Your awareness is the most advanced technology in existence, capable of altering molecular behavior, emotional timelines, and social dynamics. Every time you meditate, you upgrade the dream. Every time you act from compassion instead of fear, you shift the matrix toward coherence. The universe evolves through awakened participants. Look around you right now. Every object, every sound, every person you've ever met, all of it exists in the theater of your awareness. You are both the audience and the screen. The movie is not outside you. It's being projected from the luminous center of your consciousness. To wake up is to turn around and see the projector, to realize the light was always coming from you. In the next chapter, we will step into the symbolic realm, where myth, story, and archetype reveal the deeper architecture of awakening. Because sometimes, truth hides best in metaphor, and to decode the dream, we must learn the language of symbols.
In every age, humanity has told stories not to entertain, but to remember. Because truth, when spoken plainly, is too vast for the rational mind. But wrapped in myth, it can slip through the gates of reason and awaken something eternal within us. The dream of reality is the oldest story ever told, and within it, countless smaller dreams unfold. The hero's journey, the fall and return, the quest for light, the mirror of the soul. Let me tell you a few. There was once a dreamer who wished to know itself. But in the realm of pure light, there was nothing to reflect its brilliance. So it created a mirror, the mirror of duality, and entered it. The dreamer forgot it was light, because mirrors only show form. In forgetting, it began the journey of remembering. Lifetime after lifetime, it wandered as kings and beggars, poets and warriors, lovers and hermits. touching every frequency of existence, until one night in a human form, it looked into another's eyes and saw something familiar. It wasn't love as the world defines it. It was recognition. The mirror smiled back. In that instant, the dreamer remembered, I am both the reflection and the source. And the mirror, which had seemed to imprison it, shattered into light. That is awakening. The realization that every mirror was always showing you yourself. In another story, there is an alchemist, a seeker of hidden truth. He spends years studying formulas, chasing gold, praying for signs. But everything he touches turns to dust, not treasure. One night, defeated, he throws his manuscripts into the fire. As the pages burn, something strange happens. He feels a peace he's never known. He sits in silence, watching the flames, and finally understands. The gold I sought outside was always within. The next morning, he walks to the river, and in its reflection, he sees not an alchemist, but light shaped like a man. The dream dissolves. The alchemy was never about turning metal into gold. It was about transmuting ignorance into awareness. Fire has always been the symbol of awakening, because everything false must burn before the real can shine through. There's a legend whispered in many esoteric schools about souls who, before entering this world, pass through the gate of forgetting. Each one carries a sacred flame, their divine awareness, but as they step through the veil, the flame dims. The soul is born as a human, crying, fragile, radiant, and begins the great forgetting. Throughout life, the wanderer senses something missing, a restlessness, a longing, a strange nostalgia for a home they cannot name. They search in achievement, in love, in power, in pleasure, but nothing satisfies the hunger. Until one day, a spark reignites through pain, loss, beauty, or meditation. And for a moment, the wanderer remembers, I was never lost, I only dreamed I was. Every awakening is the moment the wanderer finds their flame again, not as something to seek, but as something that never left. Each story is a map. The dreamer represents consciousness. The mirror represents reality. The alchemist represents the mind learning surrender. The fire represents purification. The wanderer represents you, the soul within the human experience, navigating illusion in search of remembrance. These are not separate tales. They are fractals of one great myth playing across infinite worlds, the awakening of awareness within form. In every religion, every philosophy, every art, this same story repeats itself under new names. Adam and Eve leaving Eden to rediscover it within. Buddha leaving the palace to awaken under the Bodhi tree. The phoenix burning to rise again. Neo in the Matrix choosing the red pill. All are symbolic codes of one truth, that consciousness forgets itself to experience itself, then remembers through awakening. In psychological language, the mirror is your projection field. Every person, event, and challenge reflecting an aspect of your inner world. If someone triggers you, they are showing you a shadow you haven't met. If someone inspires you, they are showing you a light you've disowned. This is the dream's genius. It externalizes your internal lessons until you can see them clearly enough to integrate them. That's why life keeps presenting you with recurring patterns, not to punish, but to mirror. When you finally stop reacting and start reflecting, you begin to rewrite the dream consciously. The mirrors become mentors, the dream becomes a dojo, and reality becomes revelation. Symbols are the subconscious language of the universe. They bypass intellect and speak directly to the soul. Water is emotion. Fire is transformation. Light is awareness. Darkness is the unknown. Mountains are aspiration. Oceans are the collective unconscious. When your life feels chaotic, ask yourself, what archetype am I living through right now? Are you the wanderer learning trust? The warrior facing fear? The healer embracing pain? The sage dissolving illusion? Or the fool stepping into mystery? Each archetype carries its own awakening code, and you will live through many of them before the dream ends. Every dream has a cycle: birth, immersion, awakening, and return. When you forget, the dream deepens. When you awaken, the dream reconfigures. That's why people, jobs, places, and identities often fall away after an awakening. It's not destruction, it's recalibration. The old dream collapses because it no longer matches your vibration. The reset you fear is actually grace, a chance to create from a higher octave of awareness. When one version of reality dissolves, it's because the dreamer is ready for a clearer dream. Picture this: a being of light stands at the edge of infinity. It looks down at 1,000 worlds and says, "Let me experience myself." And with that thought, it dives into the ocean of time, shattering into billions of souls, each one carrying a spark of remembrance. You are that spark. You are that light pretending to be human. And every time you breathe consciously, love without condition, or act with integrity in the face of fear, you wake up a little more. Because awakening isn't one grand event. It's a rhythm. Inhale forgetfulness, exhale remembrance, until the breath of eternity flows freely through you again. Now that you understand the symbolic architecture, the myths, mirrors, and archetypes that shape this cosmic dream, it's time to translate this awareness into practice. How do you live lucidly within the dream? How do you apply these cosmic insights to your health, relationships, finances, and purpose to walk through this illusion not as a prisoner, but as a conscious creator? That's where we go next.
It's one thing to understand the dream. It's another to live awake within it. Knowledge without embodiment becomes another illusion, another dream within the dream. True awakening begins when your awareness reshapes your habits, your relationships, your health, your choices, your breath. Because consciousness, when remembered, must express itself through action. The dream changes only when the dreamer begins to act as the author. So let's translate the cosmic into the practical, the infinite into the intimate. 1. Health and fitness, the body as the bridge. Your body is not just a vessel, it's the most sacred interface between the invisible and the visible. Every cell is a listening device, a translator of vibration. What you eat, how you move, how you breathe, these are not just biological acts, they are rituals that tune the frequency of your awareness. To wake up in your body, eat with intention, taste as meditation. Move daily, not to chase aesthetics, but to circulate energy. Breathe as though every inhale reconnects you with the source and every exhale releases what is not you. Remember, when your physical frequency is dense with neglect, it's harder to perceive subtle truth. Vitality is clarity in motion. The more alive your body feels, the more lucid your consciousness becomes. 2. Emotional life. Mastery through feeling, not suppression. Awakening is not emotional numbing, it's emotional intelligence at its highest vibration. Every emotion you resist, anger, grief, shame, keeps you asleep in its loop. But when you meet emotion with awareness, it dissolves into wisdom. To live lucidly, you must become emotionally honest. Ask yourself often, what is this feeling teaching me? Where does it live in my body? What story keeps it alive? Healing isn't becoming perfectly calm, it's becoming perfectly conscious. When emotion arises, breathe it, name it, love it, until it transforms back into energy. That's what shadow integration truly means. You stop running from your darkness and realize it was always made of light, slowed down. 3. Intellectual life. Reprogramming the inner dialogue. The intellect is a magnificent servant, but a dangerous master. Its job is to organize perception, not define truth. Your thoughts are not facts, they're frequencies, and your inner dialogue is the script that keeps your version of the dream running. To rewrite your inner code, observe thoughts like clouds, temporary formations in the vast sky of awareness. Replace self-judgment with curiosity. Turn overthinking into inquiry. What part of me believes this? Feed your mind content that uplifts, books, art, conversation that remind you of who you truly are. Clarity of thought clears the fog of illusion. Every time you question a limiting belief, you dissolve a fragment of the dream that kept you asleep. 5. Character. Living in integrity with the dreamer. Integrity means your actions align with your essence. When you live out of integrity, the dream becomes distorted. Chaos, confusion, and burnout follow. But when you act in alignment with truth, life starts to synchronize. Doors open, energy flows, peace returns. To live awake, let your word be sacred. Speak with precision. Keep your promises, especially to yourself. Make decisions that feel expansive, not constricted. Courage is not fearlessness, it's staying conscious in fear. Discipline is not punishment, it's devotion to truth. Each moment of integrity restabilizes your reality. 5. Spirituality. Presence as the practice. Spirituality is not separate from daily life. It's not in rituals or robes or dogma. It's in awareness. It's in how you walk, how you listen, how you love. To live spiritually awake, meditate daily not to escape thought, but to observe it. Practice presence. Be here completely, even in mundane moments. Trust the unfolding. The universe is not random, it's responsive. Awakening is not an event, it's a rhythm. You remember, you forget, you remember again, and each time the remembering goes deeper.
6. Love and relationships. Conscious mirrors. Relationships are the most profound dream tools of all. They are where awakening is tested, refined, and embodied. Every person you meet is a reflection, a teacher disguised as a partner, friend, or adversary. To live awake in relationship, practice radical honesty, speak truth with compassion. Listen not just to words, but to energy. Stop trying to fix others, awaken yourself, and the field will change. Love without ownership, let connection breathe. True love is not merging, it's resonance. Two frequencies amplifying awareness in each other. And when conflict arises, remember, the universe is showing you what still needs healing in you. 7. Financial and career life. Conscious creation. Money, like energy, amplifies who you are. In the dream of form, It's not evil or holy, it's neutral power. To create wealth consciously, replace scarcity with gratitude. Align your work with contribution. Understand that money flows where value expands. Purpose-driven abundance is the natural byproduct of coherence. When your talents serve the dream's evolution, abundance becomes effortless, not because you chase it, but because you resonate with it. Awakening in career means transforming your job into your dojo, a space for mastery, service, and soul expression. 8. Parenting and legacy, passing the flame. If you guide others, children, teams, communities, remember, they are dreamers too. Your role is not to shape them, but to awaken them. Pass on wisdom, not fear. Model presence more than perfection. Let them see your authenticity, your humility, your growth. The awakened parent or leader doesn't impose, they invite. They remind others who they are by living as a mirror of awareness. 9. Quality of life, the art of gratitude. Gratitude is the simplest and most powerful form of lucid living. It lifts you instantly from the illusion of lack to the reality of abundance. When you are grateful, you stop demanding that the dream change, and instead realize it is already perfect, always guiding you home. Practice. At night, recall 3 moments of grace, not achievements, but moments that made your soul exhale. Let that feeling wash over you. This is how you calibrate to higher timelines, through appreciation. 10. Life experience, living as the witness. In every situation, whether joyful or painful, ask, who is the I experiencing this? This question pulls you out of the character and back into the observer. The observer is always calm, always free, always aware. When you identify with the witness rather than the character, the dream softens. Suffering becomes sensation. Fear becomes curiosity. And life transforms from a battle into a masterpiece. Every day, choose 3 lucid moments. Morning. As you wake, before touching your phone, whisper, I remember, this is the dream I'm creating. Set an intention for how you want to feel, not what you want to get. Midday. When tension arises, pause and take 1 conscious breath. Ask, am I reacting or creating? Evening. Reflect with gratitude. What lessons appeared today? What mirrors did I meet? This simple ritual rewires your neural pathways for awareness. It anchors the cosmic into the calendar, eternity in each moment. To live awake is to move through the world as both participant and poet. To take the ordinary and recognize it as divine theater. To love fully, act boldly, rest deeply, and know that every scene, even the painful ones, is crafted for your remembrance. You are not here to escape the dream. You are here to illuminate it from within. To live as the lucid dreamer, awake, aware, and free. Now that you've learned how to live consciously within the dream, let us bring all threads together. In the final section, we'll return to the soul's vantage point, the remembrance of why you entered the dream at all, and how to carry this awakening into every breath forward.
And now, the circle closes. You've wandered through illusion, decoded the symbols, and learned to live awake within the dream. But before this journey ends, pause. Take 1 slow breath. Inhale awareness. Exhale everything that no longer belongs to you. Feel this moment, not as words, but as vibration. This is what waking up feels like.
The world is still here. The sky still moves. Your heartbeat still whispers its ancient rhythm. But something inside you has shifted. A subtle remembering, a soft luminosity behind the eyes. You are no longer fully asleep. The sages have always said, enlightenment is not becoming more. It is remembering what you already are. What you sought in teachers, books, success, or even spiritual experience, it was never outside you. It was you, waiting for your attention. The dream is not an obstacle to awakening. It is the very stage upon which awakening performs its sacred dance. Life doesn't need to change for you to be free. Freedom is recognizing that the dream is happening within you, not to you. You were never the character. You were always the consciousness watching the character move through time. You were never trapped, only dreaming of limitation. And now, the dreamer is beginning to stir. Imagine this. A traveler awakens in a vast golden field at dawn. The dream he was lost in, a storm of struggle and noise, has dissolved. The air feels cleaner, the horizon endless. He looks down and realizes his feet are still in the same soil, but the world looks different. The colors sharper, the silence alive. He walks back into the village, the same people, the same streets, but now he sees them as light-wearing faces, as souls disguised as stories. He smiles, because he knows nothing changed, and yet everything has. That is what happens when you wake up within the dream. You return to the same life, but live it as a lucid participant, not a reactive sleeper. This awakening is not meant to make you detached. It's meant to make you fully engaged. To lead, to create, to heal, to love, to build worlds that reflect the remembrance of who we are. Because the awakened one doesn't abandon the world, they refine it. They walk into business meetings carrying peace instead of pressure. They parent with presence instead of projection. They turn work into worship and conversation into communion. Every act, when done consciously, becomes sacred. Even washing dishes becomes meditation. Even silence becomes creation. The dreamer awake is the universe aware of itself, smiling through your eyes. You may have noticed the title of this journey was How to Wake Up from the Dream of Reality Before It Resets. But what does reset mean? In dreams, when you fail to wake up, the story repeats. New faces, new settings, same lesson. In life, when awareness sleeps, the patterns loop. The soul keeps enrolling in the same classroom until the lesson is remembered. That's the reset. Not punishment, grace. Each reset is an opportunity for greater lucidity. Each repetition is the universe whispering, try again, but this time, stay awake. When you finally remember mid-dream, the loop ends. Karma dissolves. Synchronicity begins. You start to co-create rather than unconsciously repeat. So the mission is not to escape the dream before it resets, it's to awaken within it so that every reset becomes a rebirth, not a rerun. Why do we dream at all? Because consciousness longs to experience itself. Light wants to know its brilliance. Infinity craves the contrast of limitation to rediscover its boundlessness. And so you, a spark of the eternal, dove into this dream called life. You chose this body, this era, these challenges. You chose the very amnesia you've been fighting against. Why? Because awakening inside limitation expands the universe itself. When even one soul remembers, the entire field brightens. You're not just waking up for yourself. You are a lighthouse in the fog, and every time you shine, countless others begin to stir. This is cosmic leadership, not commanding others, but embodying remembrance so powerfully that it ripples outward through space and time. So right here, in this breath, make a vow to live awake, to walk lucid in this world, to choose awareness over autopilot, truth over convenience, love over fear. Say it inwardly. I am the dreamer, and I am awake. And as you say it, feel how your perception subtly widens. Colors sharpen, sounds deepen, the air itself feels charged. Because the dream responds to your awareness instantly. It always has. You are both the question and the answer, the riddle and the resolution.
Look around you. This, right now, is the sacred dream of existence. Every sound, every sensation, every heartbeat is consciousness creating art in real time. The screen you watch this video on, the light illuminating your face, even these words, they are fragments of a larger intelligence, reminding you of your role in the grand play. So walk through this life as if it were divine theater. Speak gently, move intentionally, forgive quickly, create bravely. Not because it changes the dream, but because it changes the dreamer. And when enough dreamers awaken, the collective dream becomes paradise. Not someday, but here, now, through each conscious choice. The truth is simple. You have never been asleep in the way you feared. You've only been dreaming of remembering. And now you do. The dreamer has opened its eyes. Reality hasn't ended. It has begun again, seen through the eyes of awareness. So when tomorrow arrives, the same sun, the same sky, meet it as a lucid soul. Walk into your ordinary world with extraordinary consciousness. And when you look into another's eyes, recognize the same light looking back. Because this is the secret of awakening. There was never a dream to escape, only a truth to remember. If this stirred something within you, carry it, reflect on it, live it. Let every word echo through your day until awareness becomes your natural state. And if you felt resonance here, subscribe, return often, and walk this path with us. Every word you'll find here is designed to awaken the clarity, peace, and power already within you. You are not at the end. You are standing at the threshold of your next chapter, the moment when the dreamer finally realizes, I am awake.